Good morning, PGCC. Come on, I know we're not gathered in the same space as we'd like, but I want to feel that warm PGCC good morning through Zoom. Let's try it again. Good morning, PGCC. That's better. Welcome to the start of the fall semester, signaling the beginning of a new academic year and the first semester in college for many of our students. I am honored and overjoyed to be here as your 9th president of Prince George's Community College. From the moment I stepped on campus last year during the search process, I felt a strong sense of purpose, calling, and opportunity. With each interview and encounter, I experienced an overwhelming sense of pride from the college constituencies, students, community members, and business partners. And I was inspired. Thank you for warmly welcoming me into your community. I'd also like to extend a special thank you to Dr. Charlene Dukes, who I had the pleasure of meeting, for her many years of leadership and service to this wonderful community and college. Wherever you are, in your home office, your kitchen, your dining room, basement, outside on the deck, please join me in giving Dr. Dukes a round of applause for all that she has done in moving the college forward. Thank you. During our time together today, I'll focus my talk on a few key topics. First, introductions are in order. I'll share with you some of my story and why I decided it was the right time to come to Prince George's Community College, more than 850 miles from the place I called home for so long. Next, we'll walk through some data and have a conversation about where things stand during these extraordinary times for Prince George's Community College and higher education as a whole. Finally, I'll share with you what I consider to be the most important component of weathering a crisis and coming through it properly repositioned for the future. And I'm talking about our present circumstances, an unprecedented pandemic, precarious funding models, and pervasive social unrest due to systemic racism and injustice. So now to the introduction. I am Falecia Williams, not only your new president, but more importantly, your colleague and your partner in your work. I joined this wonderful community after nearly 22 years at Falecia College in Orlando, Florida, the inaugural winner of the Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence. I served in a number of roles, including professor, dean, provost, and president of 2 of the college's campuses. I'll spare you from the rest of the details of my official bio. The college has already done a masterful job of announcing my selection and my arrival. So I'm inclined to believe that the majority of you already know a lot about me. Besides the fact, I've been Googled quite a bit. If you haven't heard though, please just turn to the college's website. My bio is captured there, and you can read it at your own time. It's fair to say, I'm prepared. That is for the presidency. My winter wardrobe, however, from Florida is grossly inadequate. In case you didn't know it, there's a huge difference in the winter here compared to what I'm familiar with in Florida. Today, I want to focus my talk on something else. I want to go deeper, share with you my inspiration for leaving a place that I love, the place that I called home, to join you here at Prince George's Community College. For me, this was about calling. As I read the profile of this great institution, began to understand its demographics, learned more about the local community, the faculty and the staff and the students here, I realized that Prince George's Community College was uniquely positioned not only to speak back to the local community on issues of equity and equality and inclusion, but also to the nation as a whole. So many have been trying to figure out how can we get better outcomes for students of color? How can we improve our success rates for students who come from disparate backgrounds? Who else, besides Prince George's Community College, has the power and the audacity to speak to that agenda and to say, we can do it, and we can do it better than it's ever been done before? It is with that inspiration that I come to this community, pulling me away from work that I knew and loved, because I believe there is an even greater calling and opportunity here. It's clear. You've probably heard me say, if you've listened to any of the videos, or you've heard others say, education is a catalyst for change, for transformation. It makes a difference in the lives of those who we encounter. It releases vitality among our students and in our communities from one generation to the next. That could be more of a reality during the exceptional times that we're currently experiencing in our world and country. Pre-COVID-19, around this time, colleges and universities would eagerly be anticipating the arrival and return of students and faculty to our campuses. There would be a tremendous level of excitement and expectation in the air. This pandemic has been unlike anything many of us have seen in our time. Add to that the level of civil unrest, blatant injustice, and public mistrust. It is reminiscent of an era that we thought in this country we would never see again. Who could have known what was in store for us? I myself have a personal story related to the issues of injustice. I have experienced it in my own family. I am married wonderfully to a husband who is a law enforcement officer. It was just a few years ago that he was returning home from a football game in Tallahassee, Florida. He's a Seminole, go FSU. And on his way back, he traveled on Interstate 10 through the rural part of Florida, area that very few cars were even on the road. As he traveled, he was pulled over by a police officer. As he moved his car over to the side of the road, the police officer came to the window and he did the normal preparation of providing him his license and all the requisite materials. And the officer proceeded to tell him that he was certain that he had encroached on the center line. Well, my husband, being a law enforcement officer, began to let him know what that represented and what it didn't represent. And he also said, I'm certain that I did not. The shortened version of the story is that led to an exchange between my husband and the officer where he simply was trying to move beyond that circumstance, simply was trying to convey that he was a law-abiding citizen and that he was just trying to get home. These are the kinds of things that cause us to experience feelings of uncertainty, that cause us to experience feelings of fear, hopelessness, dare I say anger. It is commonplace, too commonplace, in times like these, that our emotions are overwhelmed by our experiences. Some of us have felt grief over the loss of a loved one, a colleague, a friend. I think it's clear to say we are traumatized as a country, as a nation, and it's time to turn our attention to our own healing. In this season, though, there has been some good. Many of us have enjoyed a clear reminder of the things that are most important to us. It has caused us to return our focus to our families, to our friends, to our neighbors, to our faith, to our dreams, and our aspirations. It comes as no surprise that this climate of unrest and distress has not only taken a toll on people, but also on higher education. Colleges and universities across the nation have braced for what might be the worst case scenario in terms of enrollment and student success. Truly, only time will tell the full impact the coronavirus has on higher education. And PGCC will be a part of that story. Here's where we are. Today, our applications are up compared to this point in time last year. Yet our undergraduate enrollment is still down slightly. We're also in a position where our high school enrollment is up, interestingly. Almost 50% in the midst of a time such as this. Let's take a look at our applications as one of the indicators of the robustness of student interest in higher education. Today, applications have increased by roughly 21%. From these data, we can glean some positive trends, as well as a reminder that the effects of the pandemic continue to be felt on higher education as a whole. Students and prospective students in our communities, they still believe in the power of education. And they believe in planting these seeds early, as evidenced by our growing cohort of high school students. In April, Diverse Issues in Higher Education published an article analyzing the impact of dual enrollment programs. A 2017 study referenced the article revealed that nearly 90% of students who participate in dual enrollment programs at community colleges go on to complete a college degree. The findings from the study also suggest that Black students and other students of color are significantly underrepresented in dual enrollment programs. Of the student cohort studied, less than 10% of the students identified as Black and less than 20% identified as Latinx. These statistics probably come as no surprise to us. What they should remind us, however, is the crucial role that Prince George's Community College plays in this community and region for providing higher education in a way that is accessible and equitable for students from all backgrounds. We should also remember that while we have made substantial improvements in our student success statistics, our key performance indicators related to student retention and student completion and student graduation, we have not yet reached an optimal level of performance in these areas. These statistics should also tell us that we have more work to do. As a community college, we have redeeming qualities that have the potential to give us an advantage in the market, even in times of a pandemic and civil unrest. A few days ago, U.S. News and World Report published an article highlighting some of the ways community colleges are uniquely suited to recruiting students during the pandemic. Community colleges offer good value, not only for lower income families, but also for middle and high income families who make a college decision based upon quality and cost. Millions of Americans have lost their jobs, been furloughed, or experienced a significant decrease in their pay due to the coronavirus. These are difficult, painful times, and we are all affected in some way. Community colleges are designed to be commuting campuses, another attribute that makes us well suited for this era of social distancing. We also offer rolling admissions, providing increased flexibility and accommodations for students and families who are doing the best to navigate this crisis. This community has invested a lot of work into getting PGCC to this place as an institution of excellence that serves students from all backgrounds. And yet, there is much more for us to do together. As we begin the semester anew, I look forward to becoming a part of the most important work, the work that drives us forward, the strategic direction that repositions us for the future and allows us to be responsive to the least of these in our community. Student success and enrollment are always an all-hands-on-deck endeavor, and especially so during these times. Know that everyone's role is important and essential. Every interaction you have with a current or prospective student matters. Every opportunity you have to tout what makes PGC a special place. Every opportunity you have to encourage one to continue to pursue their goals. Every day that you go about your work, giving it your very best that you have, and even more for the good of the college. This is our collective accountability and our shared commitment. I cannot tell you the road ahead will be easy, or that there's a light approaching at the end of this week. Because the truth is, we don't know when it will appear. But I can assure you, there will be a light. There will be an opportunity for us to resolve the areas of uncertainty. We simply have to stay the course and remain steady in the time in between. One thing that I do know for sure is that I understand. I've been through challenges, and I know many of you have as well. And I believe I am surrounded by a group of overcomers, and we will master the task. I understand how far the community has come, and I am looking forward to learning from you how much further you're willing to go. I understand some of the frustration that you may be experiencing, but I want to share with you today, we are in this together. How many of us have heard the cliche, we'll come back stronger and better after this? Whatever hardship this represented, raise your hand wherever you are. I can't see you, but I have a sense that there are some hands raised, some heads that are nodding. Although it may be an overused phrase that seems to be used also very casually, I believe that fundamental premise, but with a caveat. Emerging stronger and better is not automatic. It is a choice. It is an intentional, constant effort, a commitment that no matter what comes and what goes, in time, you will continue to fight to become the best version of yourself, a stronger, more compassionate, caring, understanding, and scholarly one. This is the critical component that I referenced at the beginning of my talk. It is the element of choice, and we all must choose today that we are going to be a part of the change. We're going to be a part of the solutions that will allow us to excel to optimal and maximal heights. As we prepare to start the new semester, I know it's difficult, but let's remember that each of us has a choice to make. A choice to let change not become a distraction to take us off course, but rather to utilize change as an opportunity for innovation that will make us stronger and allow us to excel. Our college mission serves as our driving force. The reason new members of this community like myself were inspired to join. The charge that gives us purpose and holds us accountable. PGCC's mission is to provide affordable, high-quality learning experiences that support personal, professional, and educational development for diverse populations, contributing to the economic equity and cultural vibrancy of our community. We welcome all students who seek to earn a degree, want to boost their career, or are looking to learn new skills. Although we find ourselves in a different environment due to the pandemic, our mission remains unchanged. And we still have what it takes to continue to advance the mission work of this great institution. Let us also remember, remote work does not have to equate with isolation. And that's not to minimize the fact that this is not the type of semester we would have designed for ourselves. Remember, stay connected using the many resources PGCC has available that allows us to engage in a safe way. As many of you know, We are offering all courses virtually this semester, with 3 options that enable students to select the style that best meets their learning needs. Online courses enable students to learn on their own time, with an established schedule of deadlines. In remote courses, students meet virtually in real time on designated days each week for live faculty lectures and video conference discussions. Hybrid courses allow students completing laboratory-based work to learn both virtually and in person. In-person sessions are structured to enforce social distancing and safety in accordance with coronavirus precautions. I want to give a shout out to all of the PGCC essential staff who have been working so hard and diligently over the past few months to get the campus ready and to sustain our operations. I want you to know the campus is not closed. In fact, it never closed. Let me say that again. The campus is not closed, and it never closed. Remote operations are certainly the practice, but I want you to know our doors remain open for the services and our mission-critical work. While many of you transitioned to a remote work environment during the pandemic, essential employees have remained on campus in full operation mode so that the rest of the community can continue its important work. Care kits containing a PGCC-branded face mask, hand sanitizer, and other supplies are provided for essential employees and those who are required to come to campus. We realize that even in a virtual world, there are some things that just work better in person. Employees who report to campus are required to complete a health assessment using our BeWise app before they enter any campus sites and follow safety protocols while on campus. Know, be assured, we are taking this pandemic seriously and have the health and well-being of all of our members as our uttermost priority. I also want to acknowledge all of the other units across the campus who are participating in the community's all-in approach. As one example, back in March, when the coronavirus outbreak was officially declared a pandemic, the Prince George's Community College Foundation anticipated the impact the pandemic would have on students and created the OWL Emergency Response Fund. More than $45,000 were raised as of June 30th in support of more than 450 students, providing assistance with everything from financial aid to food insecurity to digital literacy. Stories like these inspire me. They remind me of the power of community engagement, not just in words, but in action. They remind me of why I love academia. I look forward to being a part of this movement going forward. Earlier in my talk, I shared that I felt this sense of calling and purpose and inspiration and pride when I visited PGCC earlier in the year. Even now, 10 days into my presidency, with many of us splitting our time between remote and on-campus work, I feel that energy. I have felt it in Zoom. I have felt it with the pop-in visits. I have felt it with the messages that you have sent to me via email. With our stellar record of local, state, and national achievement, Prince George's Community College is uniquely poised to speak to the national agenda of excellence in student success. At the same time, we need to realize that becoming our very best as an institution is a journey. It's one that never ends. There are even higher levels of attainment waiting for us to achieve together, and each of us must make a commitment today to play a part. It's in the passion and pride so many have for this place. It's in our talents and our untapped potential. It's in our willingness to come together as a community, lifting as we climb, like African-American activist Mary Church Terrell said. I look forward to working alongside you to discover and uncover all that we are to become. Together, we will cultivate excellence at its best in our students, faculty, staff, and community. I realize that this period of social distancing makes it difficult for us to connect in the traditional sense. In the coming weeks, we'll introduce some new ways for us to get acquainted. Those of you who participated in my campus visit last year know that collaboration and partnership were two of my priorities. It is only when we work together that we can spark real, meaningful, relevant progress. I'm looking forward to working alongside each of you to move Prince George's Community College forward into the future. You'll recall, I began telling a story about my husband. Let me tell you how it ended. That one encounter resulted in him, at the time a 25-year decorated officer, then serving as the chief of staff to the chief of police in the city of Orlando, being arrested alongside that road. It resulted in him having to take innumerable actions in order to be released from jail, in order to have his name cleared and his record set straight. It resulted in a community outpouring of disgust. But it also resulted in a resolve. He had to begin to think, the very profession that I chose to serve in the most decent and honorable way because of the need to provide safety and security in our community. But yet I've been violated by that profession. He had to have a resolve to stay the course because he knew that staying inside was the best opportunity to make the changes that were necessary. So today I want you to be inspired. You may feel that you too have been challenged by the current conditions, but I want you to stay in it. Our students are counting on us. If there are changes to be made, if the good that inspired you from the very beginning that you came into this work is going to be achieved, you must stay the course. You must continue to persist at the highest level of excellence and scholarship and care and concern. You must choose to be a part of the change. And you must be committed that you will not give up until you see it come to fruition. Welcome to the fall semester 2020 at Prince George's Community College. Make it a great year. Thank you.